Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. King Puranjana collected taxes in the city known as Panchala and thus was able to engage in sexual indulgence. Being completely under the control of woman, he could not understand that his life was passing away and that he was reaching the point of death. Purport. Government men, including kings, presidents, secretaries, and ministers, are in a position to utilize taxes collected from the citizens for sense gratification. It is stated in Srīmad Bhāgavatam that in this Kali Yuga, government men, that is Rajanyas, and those connected with the government, as well as exalted government ministers, secretaries, and presidents will all simply collect taxes for sense gratification. The government is top heavy, and without increasing taxes, the government cannot maintain itself. When taxes are collected, they are utilized for the sense gratification of the government officials. Such irresponsible politicians forget that there is a time when death will come to take away all their sense gratification. Some of them are convinced that after life, everything is finished. This atheistic theory was conceived long ago by a philosopher called Charvaka. Charvaka recommended that man should live very opulently by either begging, borrowing, or stealing. He also maintained that one should not be afraid of death, the next life, the past life, or an impious life, because after the body is burnt to ashes, everything is finished. This is the philosophy of those who are too much materially addicted. Such philosophizing will not save one from danger of death, nor will it save one from an abominable afterlife. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, welcome all the devotees. Prabhu would like to add some points, Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji. Maybe we'll see in the last part, Prabhu. Now, please, enlighten us.
Thank you. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So, Srīmad Bhāgavatam. So, we are discussing about the discussions happening between Narada Muni and King Prachinabarishit. So, Narada Muni is trying to enlighten King Prachinabarishit because he was so much engrossed in the karmic, entangled in fruitive activities. Being as a king, he is supposed to be a Raja Rishi. Raja Rishi means very spiritual minded kings. So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Imam Raja Rishio Vishu. So, Viduhu. That means the kings were considered as the representative of God. Or we can say the kings were servants of God to guide the society materially as well as spiritually. Materially means their welfare and spiritually means they should develop in their consciousness. So that was the roles and responsibilities of the king in those days. But here, King Prachinabarishit was too much engrossed in actually fruitive activities, karma kanda. So as a saintly person, Narada Muni, he felt so much compassionate and he wanted to enlighten the king. So he is presenting to the king an allegorical story between Puranjana, is the Puranjana story, where he is giving a lot of insights that only material life is actually, it is Shramayeva Kevalam, it is waste of time. We should add, actually, we should take spiritual life very seriously, which will have the ultimate, that's the ultimate goal of our life, human form of life. So in that discussion, we are, this discussion is going on for many, many verses. And today we are discussing from chapter 27, entitled, Attack by Chandavega on the city of Puranjana, King Puranjana. And the character Kalakanya is introduced here. So this chapter has total of 30 verses, right, bro? 30 verses, right? Yeah. So it has 30 verses. Yes. Yeah, 30 verses. So we are at the verse number now, verse number 18. So if you see in the beginning of this session, Puranjana, first 5 verses of this chapter 27, Puranjana is enjoying with his queen. Means the queen is representing this material intelligence. So because this allegorical story, everything represents a particular with the human body. So the Puranjana enjoys with his queen means with his material intelligence, he is not actually having the influence, forgetting the time. It means he is not remembering the time. So they say that there is a quote in English that time and tide waits for no man. And the time is passing away slowly below our feet, like a quicksand. It goes, but we do not recognize it. We keep on enjoying. It is actually, this allegorical story is not only for King Prachina Bharshi, it is also for our enlightenment. That while we are living in this material world, what happens? Our life slowly goes. Now we can see we are at mid age of the life. But hardly if you see our past life, it has found looking like a dream. Like that, after maybe 30 years or 30 years also, the current whatever we are now, it will also look like a dream, but we will not notice the passage of time. In Bhagavatam, it is said that every day the rising of sun and the setting of the sun steals away one day from our life. So every rising of the sun and every setting of the sun steals away one day from our quota. So like that, here we can see Puranjana is actually enjoying with his queen. Main is he is forgetting the influence of time. Overwhelmed by illusion, Puranjana enjoys with his wife, and thus his youth is being passed. So the youth, normally when we are in the youth stage, in the youth age, normally we do not take life seriously on spiritual aspects. Even if somebody will take spiritual aspects very seriously, the society, friends, or relationship, they will advise that this is not the age to take about spiritual life. They will tell, once you take retirement, then you can take spiritual life. But what happens, the harsh reality is, we do not know when we will die, because we know that the untimely death is always there. You can see many people, sometimes they are going, with no moment, they are suddenly disappearing from this planet. So one is that we do not know when is our death. So much uncertainty is there in the life. And second is, when we are old age, our senses will not work properly. It will not cooperate. And we cannot practice spiritual life so easily at the old age. And our subconscious mind will also be, having so much kind of thoughts. In this overnight, it is not possible to change. So that's why it is said that as early as possible. So the Srīmad Bhāgavatam, we all know that Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Kaumaram acharet prajno dharmam bhagavatan iha durlabham manusha janmam. Prahlad Maharaj is saying one should start the spiritual life as early as age of 5. So that because this human form of life is very, very rare, and by this temporary life, we can achieve something which is very permanent and eternal.
Thank you for your
That
cooperation.
we can transcend this cycle of birth and death, like that Prahlad Maharaj is saying. So here Puranjana is in illusion. He is just wasting his youth life by just enjoying with his partner. Then what happens when after every enjoyment, there is some responsibility also. So from verse number 6 to 12 is expansion of Puranjana's family. That is his responsibility. Puranjana begets sons and daughters. Also not only sons and daughters, also grandsons also. And they all become plunderers of his wealth. So normally you see that some disturbance is here. Okay. So Puranjana is giving so much wealth to their son, daughter, and grandson, but they are trying to plunder the wealth. Between sometimes what happens between the family members, there is always some kind of argument to get the father's property, right? Sometimes they all fight with each other. So grandson, son, daughter, they all become plunderer of Puranjana's wealth. But in fact, of all these things, still Puranjana is attached to his children and grandchildren. So that is the power of Maya. So we also Srīmad Bhāgavatam, there is a verse that how this illusion is starting. First, what is the starting point of this illusion? There is a verse in Bhāgavatam. Pumsa striya maitini bhavam tayam. The Pumsa striya maitini bhavam tayor muto hridayam tahu. Ato kshetra sutapta vitir janasa mohoyam aham ameti. The illusion starts when a male and female gets united, and then their heart is become tied with that kind of we can say kind of attachment, and by that they get children, and by the children they want land, house, property. By Getting all this, then they identify their family with themselves. That Janasa Mohoyam Ahamameti. This is I am, this is mine. This all my family members, my property, my house, my. Whatever we say my, it is called illusion. And what is I is eternal, because my, if you say it is temporary. Whatever we say, when you use a word called my or mine, my house, my property, my children, my anything you say my means it is temporary. But the soul is I. I is eternal. So here Puranjana is identifying everything with mind, which is and attached to them, and also getting attached to them. This is verse number 6 to 12. And then gradually becomes old also. And Puranjana also gets implicated by his desires, because the more you desire, the more you are disturbed. It's saying that more desires are there, more disturbance is there in the mind. Like that, Puranjana is getting more and more desires and getting more and more disturbed. And he performs sacrifices to enjoy whatever he is desiring. Eventually, he becomes old. Now is the time. When the old age comes, what follows the old age we know? Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that these are the 4 miseries of material life. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. We all know that Janma means birth. Janma Mrityu means death. Jara, old age. Vyadhi is disease. So here when Puranjana is getting old, next is actually, he is actually getting attacked by disease and death. Okay. So who is that character who is attacking the Puranjana city? So Puranjana city means basically it is referring to our human body. So who is attacking here? Chandavega. From verse number 13 to 18, it talks about how Chandavega attacks Puranjana's body means. Puranjana means it is attacking the Puranjana means his body. The 5-hooded serpent fights with Chandavega and his 720 Gandharva soldiers for 100 years and becomes weak. So of course the body, we have the immunity power. So the body, when we are the young, it fights away any kind of diseases. But as we grow older, the immunity becomes weak. So we can see that there's 5-hooded serpents. All these are like a defense mechanism to the body. But gradually what happens when they are becoming old, they become very weak. So now Chandavega becomes more stronger and stronger. Now we are coming to our verse of discussion today, which is a theme based from verse number 19 to 30. So, no, today is 18, right? So 18, today we are seeing how the fight is happening between the Chandavega and actually the Puranjana city, which is human body. After that, from 19, that is from next verse, up to the 30, the story of Kalakanya. So we see the character of Kalakanya is introduced, who is actually the daughter of Chandavega. Okay. So, though all those things, Jara curses Narada for refusing, and all these things we will see in the following verse. Let us first see today's verse, where Prabhupada is giving a very nice, enlightening purport. So, King Puranjana collected taxes in the city known as Panchala. So, the city is named as Panchala, we know that, and he's collecting the taxes, and thus he was able to engage in sexual indulgence. So, he was happily enjoying with his wife. Being completely under the control of woman, so he's totally controlled, means here the woman, it is representing the material intelligence. So material intelligence means it is a sitting place of lust. Krishna says there are 3 places where the lust is sitting. One is the senses, mind, and the material intelligence. So being completely under the control of woman means here Puranjana is completely under the control of material intelligence, means enjoying propensity. Always trying to enjoy this material world independently and trying to and getting more and more entanglement. He could not understand that life was passing away and that he was reaching the point of death. So his destination is very, very close now. But because he was absorbed in other thought, so he did not realize that the passing away of time and he is very closer to death. So purport, government men, including kings, presidents, secretaries, and ministers, we all know that, are in a position to utilize taxes collected from the citizens for sense gratification. Basically, we know that these taxes are collected for the welfare of people, because by collecting the taxes from the citizens, they will give better facilities, like for people, good road, good hospitals. So that is where the tax money is used in good infrastructure. But what happens when the government is corrupted? What happens? the tax money, whichever the poor people or common citizens are paying, that is being plundered or taken in a form of utilized by the whatever here it is read that king, president, secretary or ministers in a form of corruption. So they take 100, you whatever pay 80%, they take for their personal sense gratification, 20% they use for the common people. So it is stated in Srīmad Bhāgavatam that in this Kali Yuga, government men, that means government officials, and those also connected with the government, as well as exalted government ministers, secretaries, and presidents will simply collect taxes for sense gratification. So this is a prediction of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. We know that Bhagavatam has so much predictions for Kali Yuga. Prayena alpayasha sabhya kalo asmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhakyahi upadritaha. So Kali Yuga people will be lazy and dull. Dull means dull in spiritual life. And also we know that so many things will be happening for namesake or for formality. Like the Brahmanas, they will claim that they are Brahmanas because they are wearing a sacred thread. And men and women will be just attracted only for sexual pleasures or by outer covering. So many things are predicted in the Srīmad Bhāgavatam. One of the prediction of Srīmad Bhāgavatam is that in Kali Yuga, the government will collect so much taxes, and those taxes will be taken by the government officials for their own personal benefit or sense gratification. The government is top heavy, and without increasing the taxes, the government cannot maintain itself. And government normally runs with the tax money. When taxes are collected, they are utilized for sense gratification of the government officials. Such irresponsible politicians forget that there is a time when death will come to take away all their sense gratification. Mrityu sarva haras chaham. Krishna says in 11th chapter Bhagavad Gita, calls me, I am the time factor. And what I do, Mrityu sarva haras chaham. By the form of death, I remove everything from them. So they say, naked we come, naked we go. Crying we come, crying we go. We came empty-handed and we will go empty-handed. So that is the reality of life. But people who are engrossed in this material sense enjoyment, they do not realize the harsh reality of life. That is the fact. When they are in the youth or whatever, they are just they don't see the world as a devotee is seeing. So the time is passing. They do not realize that one day, whatever they have accumulated will be taken in the form of death. Some of them are convinced that after life, everything is finished. And when we give this philosophy to the people, they say that why we should be worried about death. Because in death, our body will be burnt or buried. After that, there is nothing. So life is only one time. Let us enjoy to our maximum. So that is their philosophy in life. With respect to time factor here, there is an interesting analogy they give, like time is compared to a expert gambler. Expert gambler, what they do, when you play with an expert gambler, he always allows you to win at the first initial stages, so that you get, more entangled, you get more attached to the process of gambling. He never will, suppose if you will make him win in the first stage itself, you will become more cautious and you will not engage in gambling. So it is said that time is like an expert gambler. So when you play with the time always makes you win. In the youth, you get good graduation, you get good family. So every time you play with the time is saying that you are winning, because you are having a very bright future. You are having good wealth, good family, good children. So every time the time is saying, yes, you have won. You have won. And we are so much, addicted by all this victory. Finally, the time plays a last game, saying that, so you have accumulated so many wealth, so much you have accumulated. Can we play a last match? What is that match? Whatever you earned so far, just keep that and we will play. If you win, you take everything. If I win, I will take everything. So the last match is the time forms, plays, and the time wins in the form of death. It will snatch away whatever that person has accumulated throughout this lifetime. So it is said that time is an expert gambler. In the form of death, it will strip away everything we had in this life. So some of them are convinced that after life everything is finished. So this is a very, very wrong philosophy. That's why people are getting more and more corruption, because they think that they are not accountable. Who is going to watch them? They believe that there is no God, there is no punishment. So they think that this one life, who is going to watch me? Let me enjoy as much as maximum, and they make money as God. So when money becomes God in the society, everything will move around money. So there will be so much corruption, so many illegal things. People can do anything and ready to do anything for just earning money. So people with character, they are not respected in Kali Yuga. People with more money, they are respected, even if they don't have good character. And those people's philosophy is that after life, everything is finished. So this atheistic theory was conceived. How did this theory come? It was conceived long ago by a philosopher called Charvaka. So Charvaka Muni, he was a philosopher. So he propounded this atheistic theory. So what was his theory? In short, Prabhupada is giving the explanation here. The Charvaka recommended that Charvak, what is the meaning of the word Charvak means? Vak means, speech. Char means it is sweet. This speech of him is very sweet. What is that sweet speech? Charvak. That man should live affluently. So, when you hear this, you feel very much pleasing. No, it's very happy to hear that men should live affluently, either by begging, borrowing, or stealing. We know that today's world, sometimes some relatives or friends, they ask money from us or from others also. While they are taking money, they are requesting so much. But after some time, when you ask money, they don't talk to you. Everybody has this kind of experience because their philosophy is, I have got the money, now no need to talk to them further. And even if you try to call them, they don't answer also. So everybody has that kind of bitter experience, either with friends or relatives or, so many things. They don't easy to get, easy to give, but not easy to get. Because Charvak, they are recommended, either you beg for money or borrow money or steal money, but your life should be bindas. You should live a very affluent life because he's saying that you should also be maintained. You should not be afraid of death because there is the next life, past life or impast life is nothing. There is nothing. But people who are having this Bhagavad Gita or Srīmad Bhāgavatam philosophy, they are thoroughly convinced the fact that there is next life. So they are very careful not to do any bad things so that because their next life will be also affected. They have to suffer for that. They have to pay for their reactions. So they are trying to live a straightforward life, devoted to the Lord in his devotional service. But these people with this other philosophy where they think money is God, the whole society becomes upside down. And they feel that the body is just burnt to ashes. When the body is burnt, everything is finished. They do not believe that the soul is eternal. And as Krishna says, Dehinosmi neta dehi kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhiras satrana muhyati. So Krishna says that as you pass from the youth, young age, old, and the time of old, as bodies are changing from our childhood, at the time of old age and death, the soul transferred to another body. It gets a new body. Dhirasatra muhyati. The dhiras are not disturbed by this. So people who are in the path of devotion, who are reading Bhagavad Gita, Srīmad Bhāgavatam, they don't go try to cheat others because they know if I cheat, I will be cheated also in return by my karmic reaction. So this philosophy is very, very dangerous philosophy. The more this philosophy is spreading, that Charvak philosophy, people will take the wrong routes or the wrong ways of life, and this whole society will be in chaos. This is the philosophy of those who are too much materially addicted. So those who are too much materially attached, this is their foundational philosophy. Such philosophy will not save one from danger of death. Even if you have this philosophy, still we have to face the painful death. It will not save from death, nor it will save one from the abominable afterlife. So next life will be going to be more more bad for them. But it is not going to save either from current death or from the next life. But people who are actually taking the spiritual life, they are protected in this life by the grace of God. And also the next life, if they are practiced very nicely, they will go back to Godhead. And if not fully perfected also, Krishna says, whatever you did in spiritual life, it is preserved for you. And you will resume from where you have left. So we can continue our spiritual journey in the next life also where we left. And it is Prabhupada says that whoever has taken this Krishna consciousness, they have guaranteed that they will take the human form of life. So that is the advantage of taking the spiritual life is to be peaceful and happy in this life by connecting to the Lord, also by having a better life or going back to home, back to God. So this is what actually Narada Muni is trying to say, that when we are too much materially attached, and too much engrossed in material activities, we do not notice the passing away of time, and we will be very close to death one day, where we have to pay back for all our reactions in the form of next life. So this is what is my understanding. So please, devotees, you also can feel free if you want to share anything on this verse. You can unmute and you can share. Hare Krishna. Sudarshan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, very much for the wonderful nectarian discourse. So, devotees may first, is there any doubts from the explained part? Today's text, or about the background of this allegorical story, as well as the real incident of Prajina Barhi? To enlighten Prajina Barhi, Narada Muni was narrating about the story of Puranjana. But please understand, there is a Puranjana in all of us. Only the degree level it is called differs. So first, the doubts will be answered about today's text. If any. Okay.
Otherwise, we can go to the next verse also. I think.
Yes, Prabhu. That's
there is time.
That will be better. We have time. So if this text is understood, then we can go to the next. That is 19th one. No? Correct.
Any devotees want to recite, they can.
Yes, Prabhu. 1 minute. 19th. Let me check how big it is.
Small only, Prabhu. 3, 4 lines. Yeah.
Okay. So
19, 20 also small only. Yeah.
Okay. One of the regular readers can unmute and start reading. One volunteer.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Kalasya duhita kachit trilokim varamicchati paryatanantina barhishan pratyanantana karshana. Kalasya duhita kachit trilokim varamicchati paryatantina barhishan pratyanantana karshana. Translation. My dear king, Prachina Barshit, at this time the daughter of formidable time was seeing her husband throughout the 3 worlds. Although no one agreed to accept her, she came. Purport. In due course of time, when the body becomes old and practically invalid, it is subject to jara, the suffering of old age. There are 4 basic kinds of suffering: birth, old age, disease, and death. No scientist or philosopher has ever been able to make a solution to these 4 miserable conditions. The invalidity of old age, known as jara, is figuratively explained here as the daughter of time. No one likes her, but she is very much anxious to accept anyone as her husband. No one likes to become old and invalid, but this is inevitable for everyone. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for reading.
Yes, Prabhu. So here again, the character is introduced. Another character is actually introduced here. What is that? Her name is actually Chandavega, the character of Kalakanya. So daughter of Chandavega. So here Narada Muni is saying, my dear King Prachina Barshit, at this time the daughter of formidable time was seeking her husband throughout the 3 worlds. Although no one agreed to accept her, she came. So very interestingly, it is described, seeking the husband means it is like coming to us, nobody wants her, but she is voluntarily coming. The link from the 18th to 19th verse is actually the entrance of the old age is actually described through a story again. So this old age is described. So this verse actually seeking a husband means Kalakanya means Jara or old age, the daughter of Chandavega time. Actually, this Kalakanya is actually referred to the old age. And who is that Kalakanya? It is actually the daughter of Chandavega. Chandavega represents time factor. And the daughter of the time factor is actually Kalakanya. That means Kalakanya represents old age. She was seeking her husband throughout the 3 worlds. Means she is seeing that anybody by the influence of time, they get old. So her husband means she voluntarily comes like that. So here Prabhupada is writing, in due course of time, when the body becomes old and practically invalid, so it is equally applicable to every one of us, not only Prachina Bharashit. So Prabhupada is saying for every one of us, it is subject to Jara. Jara means the sufferings of old age. So we all know, we are seeing like our parents, grandparents sometimes, how they are actually suffering the old age. The body functions are not working like a youth. The organs are not working as as expected. So there is so much complications. They keep taking medicines. Sometimes they cannot get up. Sometimes they cannot sit down. So many things. We do not need to explain much because we are all seeing this in our day-to-day life. And we are also in the line. No, it's not that we will be escaped from this. We are also in the line to approach this Kalakanya. So, Srila Prabhupada is referring these 4 kinds of basic kinds of suffering, which is said in Bhagavad Gita also by Lord Krishna, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, birth, death, old age and disease. So in this world, actually, there are, like we see, if you want to get enlightenment, we have to focus on the miseries of this world, then we get enlightenment. That's why Krishna, sometimes people say that why it is spoken so negatively. So it is not actually spoken negatively. It's actually speaking about the reality in this material world. So when we focus on these reality aspects, we get enlightened. Like we know the famous story of Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha, actually, it was same like King Prachina Bharashit only. Like he was actually in a palace. So he was enjoying all the affluences supplied by his own father. Because his father, the astrologer said, the moment your son goes outside this palace, he will become a monk. So his father does not want, he is a prince. So he never want his son to renounce the kingdom. So he did not allow him to go out of the palace and he supplied all the material enjoyment to him. His own father supplied. So Prince Siddharth, he was within the palace and he was enjoying all the affluences, luxury which is supplied by his father. And he was in full enjoyment mood. But what happens? One day, he's so much bored, he's always in the palace. He asked his father, Father, can I go out just to have a walk and come? His father thought, okay, anyhow, my son is now set with the palace life. He said, no problem, you can go and come. But when he started the Prince Siddharth, he went outside in the city. So he's seeing somebody, a dead body. He's saying, he asking his ministers, what is that? They said it is dead body. That person has died. Oh, death means and no more he will be there. So it is applicable for everybody. Because he's seeing first time death, because he never saw in the palace all these things. The minister said, yes, everybody has to die one day. Then he is seeing one more person in the very old age, body is bent and something like that. He asked, what is that? That person has become old. So everybody will become old? Yes, they say everybody will become old. So when he is seeing that, all this old age, disease and death, immediately he thought, oh, this material life, I was thinking it was very nice inside the palace. But these are the harsh realities of this world. So then he renounced his kingdom and went to the Gaya, and he was meditating there and he got enlightenment. So in this material world also, there are 2 things. There is a material sense enjoyment, sense gratification. When we are engaged in that, we normally forget of what is the goal of life. But when we focus on the miseries of this world, then normally it will lead to enlightenment, which is actually Krishna consciousness. Like we will know who we are, why we are suffering, what is the solution for this. Everything is very detailedly expressed in Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita does not only say these 4 problems, Bhagavad Gita also says how to escape this problem, what is the solution for all these problems. So both Srīmad Bhāgavatam Gita and Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada writes here, no scientist or philosopher has ever been able to make a solution to these 4 miserable conditions. Till today, where we have so much materially advanced civilization, up to, we have high-speed internet, high-speed jet, everything high speed. But there is no scientist or philosopher who can actually make a solution to these 4 things. These 4 things are not under control of anyone. Birth, old age, disease, and death. The invalidity of old age is known as Jara, is figuratively explained here as daughter of time. So the old age is actually referred as daughter of time here. Kala Kanya. The word itself is there, Kala Kanya. Nobody likes to become old. So, when we become old, we try to hide our old. Because we apply dye, we apply special kind of makeup so that we want to look young. And even if somebody will tell that you look very young, we feel so happy. Because nobody wants to become old. People also in their profile picture, you see, they try to put their younger photos. But because they cannot put their current photo, they don't feel comfortable to play. So many people have become bald, the face become wrinkled, and all these things. And so nobody actually likes to become old. Everybody wants to look. Krishna is called as Nava Yavvanam Cha. Krishna never becomes old. Nava Yavvanam means always he is in sweet 16. That's the position of the Lord. And whoever is connected to the Lord also, in the spiritual world, they are never becoming old. The old is only applicable to the material body, not to the spiritual body. So no one likes her, but she is very much anxious to accept anyone as her husband. So that means she attacks everybody. Everybody gets an old age. No one likes to become old and invalid, but this is inevitable for everyone. So even though we do not like to become old or we invalid, but still this is forced upon us. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that something which is forced upon us, we should question. Atavato Brahma Jijnasa. That means why I am suffering in this material world. I am not supposed to suffer. I want to be happy, but all these things are forcing me to suffer. So when you ask that questions, then you get all the solutions in the form of how to connect to the Lord, how to escape this repeated cycle of birth and death, and how to go back to home, back to God. So all these things are described in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam through various devotees' lifetime stories and like this allegorical story. Part of how to get enlightened by all hearing this regularly, our mind and intelligence become stronger, and it can have good willpower to take spiritual life very seriously. Hare Krishna. So anybody would like to add some point here?
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the wonderful explanation, Prabhu. Firstly, I request devotees to address the questions, if any, from this second text.
Harish Prabhuji, Pranam. Prabhuji,
Yes.
Prabhuji, same thing happened with the Sri Buddha also, because he was not allowed to go outside from the palace.
Mataji, that is Siddhartha is the
Siddhartha.
first name.
Yeah, Siddhartha. Suddhodana something father's name, no?
Suddhodana was father, and
Yeah,
Siddhartha is himself Sri Buddha. After he gets enlightenment, he became known as the same.
Yeah, same thing, because he was also not allowed, because somebody predicted that.
Yes, that only. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Shivagana Prabhu told about him only. Buddha only.
Okay.
Siddhartha became Buddha.
Because I didn't hear the in between. I got one call, that's why.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Same. Mataji was saying, no, same thing. Yes.
Yeah. Because in between I got a call, that's why I missed some point. That was.
Yeah, Mataji, we were discussing the same point that as long as he was in the palace, he was enjoying.
Yeah.
But the moment he went outside to the city and he was witnessing all these things, then he focused the realities of this material world and he renounced the kingdom and he went to do meditation.
Yeah, because in between I got a call, so I missed some points. That's why I asked the
Okay.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, sir.
Good. You were able to remember that past time. Yes, good.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much.
And who is Buddha? Buddha is none other than Supreme Personality of God. That we should remember. The special Avadara.
Yes.
When a lot of killings of animals were happening on the basis of sacrifice, then Lord came and told that, no, it's not correct. Don't follow Vedas. Then the sacrifices and this sacrifice, other killings of animals were stopped. Then what happened? People became atheistic Then Lord sent Shiva, Shankaracharya, and re-established Vedas. So special avataras, they are known. Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to remind. That is why we see in the Savadara Stotra also, Buddha's name is mentioned.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, yes.
Where the word Pashukhadam is used to stop Pashukhada, animal killing.
Yes.
In Dashavadara song, there is no name of Krishna. No, instead of Krishna, Buddha is
No,
written.
no. Yes,
Because,
Sivanapra-
yeah, Krishna actually, why his name is not, he's avatari. He's not an avatar. Because all the avatar come from him. So that is Dashavatara means it's avatar, means the incarnation. Actually, it is said that the Acharya say Krishna is not an avatar. Krishna is avatari means from where he's a source of all the avatars. So that's why
Oh.
Krishna's name is not.
is Swayam Bhagavan.
From him, all the avatars are coming.
Yes, that's why.
Thank you much.
That is why Jayadeva Goswami did not include Lord's name. Any doubts? Please feel free to ask. We will not get Shivana Prabhu every day. Even I was not able to join last week because of office duties.
Yeah, I was also having some for my son some classes. That's
Yes,
why I was
Prabhu, we understood that. If had it been possible, you would have joined. We know.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So, Prabhu,
Yes.
I think today evening there is a program, right, Prabhu? And we'll not have a regular Srīmad
Yes,
Bhāgavatam.
Anyway, Prabhu, now